Good morning, Rotarians and guests. Sorry about waking some of you up with that. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. To lead the invocation this morning is Joe Velma.
Thank you, Ron. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, for the fellowship of Rotary, and for our many blessings. We especially thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our lives with our friend and fellow Rotarian, Jimmy Sutton. He was a friend to everyone, and everyone thought they were his best friend. We will miss his laughter, his smiling face, his many stories, his little thank you notes and cartoons, and especially his holiday outfits. We will always remember and admire his enthusiasm and his desire to serve others. We ask that you bless him in his final journey and watch over his sweet Louise. Jimmy, more than anyone, enjoyed life. He would want us to do the same. And as Jimmy would conclude, and all God's people said, Amen.
Thank you, Joe. It's very nice. To lead us in the pledge and four-way test this morning, Rich Warfield.
Morning, everyone.
Morning. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Four-way test. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third, fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm going to get you a pointer or a laser pointer or something. To lead us in song, Dick Pearsall.
Betcha.
Well, I thought as sort of a memorial to Jimmy, we should celebrate his life. Now, the only thing we do, this will be a little bit like the last meeting we had where we were roasting. Where you have laughing, smiling, and the last laughing, put Jimmy in there. And I'll go this way when you're supposed to say Jimmy. Okay? See if you can do that. This is a pretty good group. So let's start. When you're smiling, Jimmy Sutton, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, Jimmy Sutton, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, that brings on the rain, so quit your sighing. Be happy again. So when you're smiling, slower, Jimmy Sutton, the whole world smiles with you. I hope he didn't hear that.
A little bit of a struggle.
Allison,
You are good. Who's making a difference? Yes, we are. We contributed $393 for a fine day. Thank you. And that combined with the $607 from the Noon Club, we were able to buy a shelter box for the Nepal victims. So, thank you. Our secretary, our assistant secretary, Larry Santon, will introduce our guests.
Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning. We have two guests today, and she'll stand. Dana Harrell from Hudson Players. Morning, Dana. And Martha Lambert. There's a little story that comes along with Martha. She, when I checked her in, admitted that she's the assistant to Joe Boycel. And that the flag went up right away.
That's scary.
And she also suggested that Joe is taking a rest from his voice for a while. Those are our guests today.
Larry, don't you also know Martha? Did you also work with Martha? Years and years ago at Ernst & Young?
Different Martha.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry.
That was a little fun today, huh?
Oh, that was you.
She's rolling.
Phil Tobin has asked if he could come up and say a few words. I'm going to pass around a card for Jimmy Sutphin's family, and then there's a donation envelope. In the obituary, there's 2 beneficiaries he's requested, so if you feel like donating something, please do.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Phil.
You know, we've all lost a good friend with Jimmy. It's especially significant for me since, as you know, many of you know, I've known Jimmy longer than pretty much anybody on this world, in this world. Jimmy and I were little boys together in playpen, so this goes back 82 years. I came across a poem a few days ago, or this was a few months ago, and it was rather sort of fun to look at this poem. I had a chance to meet with Jimmy and Louise, and I read this poem to them at that time. It's sort of a significant poem about being a little boy, and I thought I'd share it with you today. This is a poem written by Eugene Fields. The subject is When I Was a Boy. Upon the attic where I slept when I was a boy, a little boy. In through the lattice the moonlight crept, bringing tides of dreams that swept over the flow, over the low red trundle bed, bathing the tangled curly head while moonbeams played a hide-and-seek with the dimples on the sun-browned cheek when I was a boy, a little boy. And oh, the dreams I dreamed when I was a boy, a little boy. For the grace that through the lattice streamed over my folded eyelids seemed to have the gift of prophecy, and to bring me glimpses of times to be, when manhood's clarion seemed to be calling. Ah, that was the sweetest dream of all, when I was a boy, a little boy. I'd like to sleep again where I used to sleep when I was a boy, a little boy. For in the lattice the moon would peep, bringing her tides of dreams to sweep away the crosses and griefs of the years away from the heart that was weary and faint today. And those dreams should give me back again a peace I've ever known since then, when I was a boy, a little boy. And I dedicate that to Jimmy Sutphin. Thank you.
Dan Rich.
Yeah.
Good morning, Rotarians. I'm not sure I can do this without tearing, but a friend of ours, a Rotarian, Kathy Franks, who is now living in San Francisco at Berkeley, said this to me in an email. Sandy Rexroad posted the sad news on Facebook about the passing of Jimmy Sutphin yesterday. My heart goes out to you, Den, because I know you've lost a great friend. I was privileged and honored to have known Jimmy for only a few short years, and in that precious time, he became one of my dearest friends, one of the dearest friends I have ever had, and one of the greatest men I will ever know. Who was more thoughtful than Jimmy Sutphin? A birthday did not go by without hearing from him, and in between holidays, just for no reason at all, I'd get a big manila envelope in the mail full of comic strips, interesting articles, and silly jokes. Who made more people smile than Jimmy Sutphin? Long after I moved back to California, I was feeling down, and all I had to do was to think about Jimmy, conjure his smiling face, and the blues would be gone in an instant. Who had more integrity than Jimmy Sutphin? He was a man that valued honesty and extended fairness to all. Who was more generous than Jimmy Sutphin? I've never met anyone who shared his time, talent, and treasure so freely. I never had to ask him for anything. He always seemed to know when I needed help, and there he'd be at my door, at my side, on the phone, in a note, spreading joy and warmth. Who gave more encouragement than Jimmy Sutphin? Every creative work I ever did that crossed Jimmy's radar was always met with an encouraging response. Even last year's Christmas card had a note in the upper corner, "You are a great writer." There's one thing I said to Jimmy one time that he often repeated. The largest room in the universe is the room for improvement. He loved that concept. It's a room where I spent most of my time, but a room where Jimmy never had to go. He truly was a man who needed no improvement. I'm sorry for the loss, and I know that Jimmy will live on in our hearts, and we will feel the warmth of his spirit for all our days. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Dan. Okay, now we move on, just like Jimmy would want. So, Ed Sogan, you're going to talk to us about some exciting event coming up.
Next week I'll have a little sign-up list for the Home and Garden Tour. We need people to help with parking, and there are several sites. It's on Thursday and Friday, the 11th and 12th of June, and it is an annual event that has been a great one for Hudson, so hopefully if you do have the time that you'll be able to share a couple hours with those duties. In regards to being in the crib with Jimmy and Phil, that was a precursor to the ultimate fighting that we have nowadays.
Age matter.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning, James.
Allergies. Oh my gosh. Anyway, want to quickly just mention about the Relay for Life. We've gotten 2 more bottles of wine. So again, if you, we're going to have a raffle basket there with wine. And so any extra bottles sitting around your house that you want to throw in there, we'll put that in the raffle. Also, just to mention that the captain and co-captain for all these years and still on the form as a co-captain is Jimmy Sutphin for our team. So obviously we're thinking of him tremendously now for that effort. So I also have forms if you want to sign up for the team. And again, that's taking place the 30th, which is a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at Lavelli Field.
Hey, Jim.
Yes?
James, you're a spokesman for the school. Do you want to mention what recently the award you just received for the school in the state? It's in the paper today.
Oh, I'm not actually, so we've gotten a lot of awards. I'm not sure which one you're
Sixth place in the state.
You're 6th place in the state.
for.
For ranking.
Ranking.
Oh, 6th place for ranking, okay.
It's the high school, right?
High school.
The high school, yeah, so yeah,
200
we've been ranked
221
nationally
in
in
the
U.S.
country.
News and World Report, so, yeah, so hopefully you feel like your tax dollars are well spent, and of course it's, thank you so much for bringing that up, because, you know, it's due to, here we have one of our students here, great students, parents, community, obviously, it's all coming together here in Hudson, so that's great affirmation of that, so. And I get a chance to see a lot of the activities at the school and just see how great these kids are in all the grades. So it's really wonderful. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Go Explorers.
Yeah. Go Explorers, yeah.
John Hairston, I know he's here. Do you want to talk to us about our, well, it's Saturday coming up, right?
Yes, we're all set.
I am so excited. We probably have about 12 people that will be participating in mulching. We have just the one house to mulch, and it's approximately about 15 yards, so it's quite a bit. I'm grateful. I did get permission from Gail Royster to talk to Marty. I went to the high school. Saturday is prom day also, but we still had 7 students from Hudson High School that are going to volunteer that Saturday morning. And we are all set to mulch the house. Now, the one young man that I discussed last week with you that did not want the mulch, the one thing that he did want help with is his front gutter needed to be cleaned out. I have a friend that has a landscaping business, and I have talked to him, so I'm going to take care of getting that gutter clean for John. So, and I told him it was a tribute from the Rotary Club, so I'm looking forward to getting that done for him. Yes.
Where do we meet, and do you need any equipment?
We have all rakes and wheelbarrows, a couple wheelbarrows. Phil from the clock tower, he lives right down the street, so he has wheelbarrows and rakes. We will meet at the donut shop at 7:30 in Hudson. And then if you are interested, we'll go back to Stowe for a luncheon there. Most of the students told me that they wouldn't be able to participate in the luncheon because they needed to go home and get ready for the prom. So,
Open door?
no, open door. I'm sorry. Yeah, open door at 7:30.
The old what?
Open door.
Where's that?
The old
So by that carpet place?
Yes.
That carpet place is
Yeah.
a business.
Yeah, it's the old guys.
Rich, did you want to come up and say anything about cleaning the pool? As he slowly meanders. Now don't trip over that carpet.
All right, I know all of you really want to jump in and help out, clean the pool. I think the last, for sure, year, maybe year and a half, we have opened up the pool. This is over at the Boy Scout camp, in case some of you are wondering, and we've shut it down. So now it's time to reopen it back up on the 23rd, Saturday, and they're going to provide us with donuts and juice. Ron, you don't understand that? You know, I know you got tennis, but, and then they'll provide us with a full lunch afterwards. So it's from 8 to 12:30 at Camp Manitowoc. So anybody else that wants to come, I think we have about 6 or 7 volunteers. We'd love to have you. And I'll send out an email. I'm sorry?
23rd.
23rd. Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to embarrass Dominic DiGiramo for a second on national television.
Okay.
Really not Dominic, but this is can I take 2 seconds? This is just a credit to their family. We were at track meet last Wednesday. I think Dom was there watching, and Dante walks up and, hi, Mr. Warfield. Always so polite, and I remember coaching these 2 guys in baseball back when they're little guys. And Dante was in outfield picking, remember, dandelions?
Oh yeah, picking and I play in the sand and stuff. I play in the dirt.
Hey Dante, there's a ball coming your way. Oh, I gotta put the dandelion down. So I said, what do you want to do after you get out of high school? And he goes, well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dominic, he wants to go to cooking school. He has a real desire for cooking. And I said, are you trying out for the football team again? Are you going to be on the football? Oh yeah, I'm going to definitely do that, Mr. Warford, but this cooking school is what I want to do. And I said, well, that's interesting. And he said, one thing his folks told, and this is the whole basis of the story, one thing his folks told him, I assume Dominic and there are 2 others, is that I'm here to make this world a better place. And that's what it's all about. And I tie that into Jimmy, because that's what Jimmy did. He made this place a better place with all our hurts and all our disappointments. Jimmy was always there. So kudos to your parents, Dominic. I just thought I'd mention it.
We're ready for our speaker, so Martha, if you'd like to come up and introduce her.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you know, I'm Father Joe's assistant, so please don't hold that against me. He's a great guy to work for. Our speaker today is Dana Harrow, and she has been involved with the Hudson Players for 16 years. She's served on the board of directors twice, both in the secretarial and publicity director positions. She's been in 4 shows and has produced 2 shows. Dana is currently rehearsing for the Hudson Players' special 70th anniversary show, 70 Years of Broadway, which will pay tribute to all the musicals the group has done. Her husband also played music for some of the shows, and her 2 daughters are honorary junior members. Ladies and gentlemen, Dana Harrow.
Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning. Did I do that right? I think I'm getting the gist of this. Thank you, Martha. I appreciate it. So how many people here have actually been to a Hudson Players show? Raise your hand. Oh, you are the cool people in the room. Now, how many people have not been to a, you don't have to raise your hand, but as said before, the biggest room is the room for opportunity. So I'm going to tell you about opportunity today. If you have not been to a Hudson Players show, you are missing out on a great gem here in our city. It's 188 seats, and you want to get those tickets. We do great theater, good times, good shows, great friends. And when I joined 16 years ago, when I was 10 years old, I just graduated from Ohio State with my bachelor's in music education, and I was ready to take on the world in my first music teaching job for Nordonia Hills City Schools. So growing up a Cleveland gal, I was very traumatized when I had to put a Summit County sticker on my license plate. I was like, oh, it's all downhill from here. But I moved to Twinsburg, and I went, I don't know anybody out here, and I need to find a way to meet some people. So I was looking through our little paper and saw, oh, they're having some auditions for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. All right, I've done theater my whole life. Let's give it a shot. So I was a wife, and I got to play the back end of a camel, which is my shining moment in that show. And I have been a part of this group ever since. And I can tell it's a group very much like yours. The biggest thing I can say is it's a family. It doesn't only put on amazing quality shows, but every time we get somebody new, it's like they come in, they're like, this isn't just a theater group. This is a family that helps one another. And there's no age in our group. There's no race. Everyone just gets along, which is incredible about it. So our shows this year, we do have one more weekend of the Addams Family, and if you have not seen it yet, it is a riot. Wednesday Addams is all grown up, and lo and behold, she brings home a normal boy to meet her parents. Well, you can imagine how they're just freaked out. They're like, what? You're wearing a yellow dress? You can't wear yellow. We only wear black. So it's a whole story about how the Addams Family, which are a little bit on the crazy side, and this normal family come together. It's a very, very funny show. A lot of Latin-inspired music and tangos between Morticia and Gomez. So we have one more weekend of that. If you don't have tickets yet, you're going to want to grab them. And then we are rehearsing right now for the 70 Years of Broadway. There's 6 of us that have put this show together from scratch, actually. We went through every musical that we have done over the last 70 years and picked songs from them. And we've put together a musical review, if you will, of all the shows we've done over 70 years. So it's a lot of lyric memorizing, and every night I go to bed and I'm going over all these words in my head and choreography. But it's only one weekend. It's June 5th and 6th, and tickets are $20. It's a fundraising show for us. We're trying to get some new curtains and some new sound equipment. We have some things that are very, very old there. So I hope that you will join us for that. And then we also just announced our season for next year, 2015-16. And we will open our season with a play called Play On. And basically it is a play within a play. So we are going to be watching the rehearsal and everything that goes wrong in a show. And the person that plays the director will actually sit out in the audience with you in the front row and be yelling from the audience, and maybe you can throw some newspaper or popcorn on stage too. We'll kind of see how that works out. Our second show is going to be 1776, which is a musical about signing the Declaration of Independence. And if you have not seen the show, come out just to hear the 25 men's voices. It's incredible. I don't know if any of you have been to like a men's glee club concert, but the sound was just unreal. We had that in Spamalot. Anybody who saw Spamalot, if you heard the male ensemble in that show, it blew us away every single night. And then we are going to conclude our season with a show that we on the board had never heard of, and after they described it to us, we said, we can't not do this show. It's called The People versus Friar Lawrence. It is a very crazy, spoofy musical, and it centers around Friar Lawrence is in a little holding cell, and he is being questioned about his knowledge of who killed Romeo and Juliet. And there are all kinds of people that play different characters, and they change from men to women. And the only person in the show that speaks in the Old English accent is Mercutio, and they keep telling him what an idiot he is. They say, why are you doing this? Nobody can understand you. So we're very excited about our upcoming season, and we hope that you will come and see all of our shows. If you do frequent the theater, I do suggest the season ticket package. It does make our shows $10 a show, and I can't think of any community theater anywhere in Northeast Ohio that you can see shows that inexpensively. So even though I always usher for the shows and I just sit for free, I buy season tickets every single year, and I con my friends into coming and watching, and then they come to shows after that. So have some season tickets. Other ways to get involved in Hudson Players, I have a lot of friends that say, you are not going to get me up on stage. And I say, that's okay. There are lots of other ways to get involved in our organization. We have quite a few people that come just to help with building our sets on Saturday mornings. So if you like to play around with a tool bench and a workshop, we always have people helping to build flats, build scenery. If you have artistic talent, we have some people that come in and just help to do some of our set dressing. Put bricks on something or paint something to look like wallpaper. We need people to help with costumes, with makeup. Even simple things like hemming 3 dresses. I mean, I can't do that. So when I know people that can, and then they say, oh yeah, that would take half an hour. Well, that it works very similarly to your group here. You find what people are good at and how they can help, and then we all kind of come together towards one common goal, and we all play a part in that. So some of us are on stage, some of us are off stage. I've done producing for shows, which I have to try and organize all the volunteers, and that's been very rewarding as well. Another great thing about our group is we really like to try to be involved in our community. We always have a very large Relay for Life team. I can't even count the number of people that have been touched by cancer in our group. Lots of people have been lost to cancer. So it's a cause very near and dear to our hearts. We get called every year for the Hudson Ice Cream Social to host the karaoke. Gary Marr and I get wrapped into that a lot every year, so we like to do that. And we also try to really involve our local businesses. We do have dinner and show packages set up with several area restaurants where you call us and we do all the work for you. We make the reservation at the restaurant for you. You go in, you have a specific time, they will guarantee you a seat, guarantee you that you will be out in time to make it to our show before curtain, and your tickets are included in that as well, so it makes that a nice night. Any of you that have kids or grandkids, another thing I love about our group is that my kids, who are a kindergartner and a second grader, they're part of the family. I mean, I bring them to everything. I don't feel... a lot of people, when they first have kids, they feel like it separates them from some of the things that they do, that all of a sudden they have to stay home and miss out on some things. And I did take a 5-year hiatus from being on the stage, but I was on the board of directors, and I brought my kids with me, and they played with coloring books. We have our current secretary has brought both her sons since they were infants, and they just join our board meetings, and they sit there, and they are welcome, and so it never separates us. The Hudson Players kids they're just part of the family, which is really nice. So, does anyone have any questions about our group or anything that we do? Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the kid thing. I have
Actually, I'm going to get you.
Oh, sorry.
They can't hear on TV if you
Project with your theater voice.
Nobody wants to hear me on TV. I'm glad you brought up. It's not working.
I can hear you.
Oh,
The light's on.
it's okay. Well, I'm glad you brought up the kid thing. I have a second grader and a kindergartner as well. Brought him to a show. Had a little issue with. Is it kid friendly? Is my question.
It depends on the show. We just did Seussical as our winter show, and our Sunday matinee, there were more kids in the audience than we had adults. So it really does depend on which shows we pick. I would not say that we're a children's theater, but we do have shows that we do that are appropriate to bring kids to. I brought both mine, kindergartner, second grader, to Seussical, and they did fine. It also depends on your child. Like, I know my older one, I could have brought to a show from age 2, and she would have sat through the whole thing mesmerized, probably any show. My younger one, just starting around age 5 or 6 is when we've started to take her. So, you can, depending on how they are at other things, at movies, their attention span. I'm trying to think for next year. 1776, lots of music and everything would probably be okay for kids. Play On, probably not. There's probably some language in there you wouldn't want to bring them to. And then I had not read the People versus Friar Lawrence yet, so the verdict is out on that one. But it depends on our season from year to year, which shows that we.
What about the Addams Family?
I brought my kids to it. There are a couple swear words in it, but other than that, nothing else that I can think of. So, as long as you as a parent talk to them, okay, we don't say that word at home, So it gives you an opportunity to talk about some of those things. But overall, kindergarten, second grade, probably be okay to bring that. Yeah. Yes.
Could you comment on your financials a little bit in terms of what your cost budget is, et cetera?
Yeah, I can. I can a little bit. What we do, we are a nonprofit organization, so we do keep money in our checking account, which basically covers our costs for our shows, and for our musicals. Our budgets for our musicals are anywhere from about $7,500 to $8,000, and a lot of that goes into set. I mean, set construction is a big cost for us, and some shows, like I know 1776 next year is going to be a very large cost for costumes for us, just to get all those period costumes for 25 men, 2 women. Will probably involve some renting from either places like Mr. Fun or other theaters. So we go ahead and we make our budget for our show, and I can't think of too many shows we've gone over budget on. We do keep a securities account as well, and right now we have a lot of money in our checking account, and so we are looking to make some improvements for our theater.
So roughly around $26,000 a year in costs.
Yeah, just about. But then a show like Seussical, we brought in about $12,000. So
Great. So revenue-wise, how would you describe attendance across the season?
It really does depend on the show. Seussical sold out almost every performance this past year. Our straight play, which was Unnecessary Farce, did very well. I would say that each weekend we were at least half full. Many weekends, a lot of times with our straight shows, if people haven't heard of them, it's a roller coaster. Opening night, we always have all the people that are part of our group. They're there to support, and then the word of mouth happens. The articles get in the paper, and then by the third weekend, we might be sold out. But the last 2 to 3 years our attendance has been awesome. We've had some really big name shows.
So pretty good job matching revenue and costs.
Yes, which is why, and the last 2 years especially, between Spamalot and Seussical, we do have some extra money right now, and that's why we're looking to make some purchases for sound systems and things like that. So. Yes.
Here you go.
Thank you for your talk about the theater. I'm curious about the talent that you have on the stage. A lot of them from outside of Hudson. I've noticed this in some of the other community theaters.
I would say that it's from all over. I personally have performed in more shows in Stowe for Stowe players than I have for Hudson, but I'm way more involved with Hudson players as far as being a board member, volunteering for things, helping with box office and things like that. I think a lot of times when people are performing, they're looking for not only the group that they want to be a part of, but they are looking for certain shows. So if a show comes up for an area theater, within a half an hour radius, then they might go out for that show. But it's kind of a core group of us, and we try to, we all kind of stick together. But I will say that we've had the biggest compliment I would say that we hear is when people come and they've never done a show with us. They're like, I need to come back and do more theater here. It's a welcoming community, and it really is more than any other theater I've worked with. It's a family. And I know there are other local community theaters that really struggle to find the core group to help with everything, or it might be the same 5 or 6 people. And in Hudson Players, we just have dozens and dozens of people that are willing to step up and help, which is fantastic.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Liz.
Runs.
So can you explain how the dinner and the show is? It's a little hard to see over there, but.
Oh, well, the dinner and the show, what you would do is you would call our box office, and Trish Davis is the one that usually handles our box office, and you would let her know which restaurant, like for example, Hudson's Restaurant on the Green, we have a package with them, and so if you want to do a dinner and a show, you would let her know how many people you had, and then she calls Hudson's Restaurant and makes the reservation for you, and then calls you back and lets you know what time you need to be there. And when you arrive, the staff at Hudson's knows that you are there for a show. They know they need to move things along to make sure you get out to get to our theater in time. But the price is all inclusive for your dinner and your tickets.
Do you have other restaurants as well?
I want to say that we have one with Lucida's as well, but I would need to look and see. I know they've tried to add a couple over the past couple of years, but we are always looking to add additional ones as well. We had a contact at Otani's for a long time. That she's actually one of our general members as well, and she has a different job now, so I'm trying to find another contact there too. So. Well, thank you very much, and we hope to see you at the show very soon.
Thank you, Dana. We'll look forward to another exciting season. And maybe Dexter will think about adding it to our
That's what I'm doing.
social. That's what I thought. He's on it.
Oh, we have group rates.
Oh, group rates, special for Rotarians. Good.
I'm on it.
Alrighty, Ron and Gail are co-chairs for the gala. It would certainly be appropriate at this time if you could talk to us about what happened. Come on, I know you're tired, Ron, but you did a great job. And mention the spouses too, would you?
How many do you have?
Look at this organization here.
The gala is almost over. I want to thank everybody that went out and solicited gifts, came to the gala, brought their friends and neighbors. We had a gorgeous evening. We couldn't have asked for anything nicer, except maybe a little rain to keep people inside bidding. But it was really a gorgeous evening, and everything went well until checkout, but even that, with the lines and everything, with as long as it took, most people were very patient with the problems that we had, so I really do appreciate that. I would like to thank the committee for all of the meetings they've attended. We will have a wrap-up meeting at some point, probably in the next couple of weeks, to see what we did well, see what we could do better, see what we want to do. And I guess I better thank my wife, who was right there at my side putting together a step 2 kitchen, and then a step 2 workbench, and then a Little Tykes fire and rescue truck, who was right there reading everything while we were proofing the booklet a couple of times. And then she also unloaded all of the posters over the weekend, and she's just been pretty active in the gala, and I do appreciate that. We really don't have anything to report yet. Money-wise, we're still in the process of clearing up some items. We will have a small orphan auction next week. Most things were bid on. We don't have very many that got no bid, but for the ones that we did have, we will auction those off next week. So thank you, Allison, and thank all of you for all of your efforts.
The committee members stand up. I mean, after this fabulous job. Come on, Gail. Come on, Dan. Stand up. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Speaking of thank yous, we've got a thank you going to our greeters, Liz Ramsey and Den Rich, our AV team, who showed up at 6:30 this morning. And that includes Tom Page, Larry Santon, Jeff Tong, who had to go ride a bike to school today with one of his 2 kids. And Evan and James Field, John Hairston, Tom Tobin, and Dominic. Thanks, Dominic.
Thanks, Dominic.
Any other announcements before we get ready to end? Next week is our Hudson High School Student Scholarship Program, right, Dan? No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's graduation week.
Okay.
27th or something like that.
27th, all right.
2 weeks.
We have a board meeting following this meeting, so everybody's welcome to attend. And now, yes,
Just want to remind those foundation board members, there will be a meeting after this meeting next week.
did everybody hear that? Foundation next week for their board meeting. All right, so get your tickets out and let's draw for Rotobucks.
Last four are 4471.
That's me. Donna. Payout is $12 and you have a chance for $450 when we get these marbles.
Wow. That'll pay for your landscaping.
There you go.
Let's go.
All right. Is she gonna do it?
Oh.
Darn, better luck next week. All right, have a wonderful, happy week.